This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
What is up, everybody out there in the XRP community? Thanks for coming back to Investment Perspectives. Okay, so let's do this thing. This is the third, not the first, not the second, but the third transparency report for you, the audience, and more specifically, for all of the people who were so kind enough to donate money to the fundraiser for this documentary, Cryptonaires. Okay, let's get into this thing. Let's start with, for one, let's start right at the top. The total amount raised for GoFundMe only begins after the fees that GoFundMe took. So if you look at the column where it starts up here under revenue, GoFundMe total after GoFundMe fees actually came out to $16,875.48. Now let's move down. Okay, so let's get into some of the expenses here, and you'll see some things that are missing, and we'll talk about that too. So the trademark registration came out to $477.02 for Cryptonaires, right? We had to have t-shirts made for the 4-day film shoot in Las Vegas because we had like 4 or 5 conferences that we covered while we were out there for the 4 or 5 days, whatever it was. And in order in some of those facilities in those conferences, you had to have specific wear that actually showed you were part of the film crew for access. So that was a requirement, and we had to do that. We got everybody 2 shirts for the 2 days, and we rushed ordered them to get them to us before the trip. So $219.48. The DBM Communications is the film company that we used for the Las Vegas shoot for the 4 days out in Las Vegas and all the conferences. That total is $5,800. Now, before I go any further, Dustin Plantholt, my partner with Cryptonaires, listen, he knows DBM Communications, and he was able to get a heavily discounted rate to that invoice that they gave us. We have since paid half of that as a deposit before we went to Vegas, and in the next week or two, we will be sending the remainder. So I put the full $5,800 in that for you to see. Okay, moving on. The LLC Cryptonaires, because we are a corporation, we did not put this in personal accounts. This is in a corporate account, Cryptonaires, and it always has been. And we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about that for a second. Okay, for one, we are going to consult the CPA that we use for the LLC and have them draft a document to confirm all of these expenditures that I'm going over with you now. So I'm excited about that too. So just know that we're doing this third transparency report, but there will be a follow-up from our CPA to back up and reinforce all of these numbers. And we are also talking with our legal team, because when we started all this, we knew we had to have a CPA and we knew we had to have a legal team. They are well aware of the current situation and everything that's been happening, and we are consulting with them as we move forward. No doubt about it. Okay, flights in Singapore, $1,637.10, $1,637.10. This is the baseline for 2 seats to Singapore, which were $817 or whatever that is in half. And Dustin and myself both chose to do a $400+ upgrade to our seat for premium economy coach, which is not so premium. But anyway, we did appreciate the little bit of extra leg room that we paid for. But to be fair to the people that donated the money, Dustin and I thought it was best that we only charged the crowdfunding for the baseline ticket. We chose to do the upgrades out of our own pocket, so they're not listed here. Okay, let's look at the Singapore hotel. Okay, so the Singapore hotel is $1,247.12. Now, I'm going to go back and double check this with the CPA, but we did have a moment in there, and I'm not 100% positive, and it doesn't matter because I'm going to have the CPA take a look at it and then release the paper on it. So, but going over this and breaking down each line item, which I'm happy to do for the third time now. Singapore hotel cost $1,247.12. That may or may not include an extra night we had to have because of flying out and staying for the second day of the conference. Because originally we were going to stay just the first day, and we had a meeting in California the next day, and because of flights going in and out, we were going to have to miss the majority of the second day of the conference, and we wouldn't have needed a room that night. However, as it worked out, we ended up being able to stay the 2 full days because the meeting in California got pushed back, and it was totally cool. So I will double check that with the CPA when we drill down on this further, but there may be the addition of an extra night, but I don't think so. I think it's correct. But anyway, we will straighten that out. But just a little side note on that line item. Okay, so now, Washington, D.C., Chris Brummer interview shoot, $500. Again, this is a heavily discounted invoice. I was originally invoiced $1,200 for this video shoot. I was able to talk and negotiate this video shoot down to $500. If you don't know who Chris Brummer is a huge Georgetown Law University professor who specializes in fintech. He has testified many times on Capitol Hill with Congress, the CFTC, when it comes to asking the right questions on what you need to know to be able to craft guidelines and laws when it comes to fintech crypto. So having Chris Brummer do an interview with us was a huge get. It was a huge get. Okay, so now we held back $2,300 reserves for taxes on this money. No big deal there. Obvious why. Doesn't need explaining. Now let's talk about the things that are not on the list. Okay? We do not have the cost of the flights for Vegas. We do not have the cost for the hotel rooms at Vegas. So let's talk about that. The reason we don't, and we will get them on there, and we will show you, but this is the kind of effort we've been putting in. Dustin used points that he had with Southwest to actually get his airline ticket to Vegas. No charge to the actual group for that. What we did decide to do is we decided to take what the average of my flight, my room, right, and food and expenses that Dustin and I had, and work that out to one price. We will get you that price because we have to figure out, because Dustin stayed at a different room than I did, at a different hotel than I did. He stayed at the Cosmo, which was crazy expensive. They hit him hard. And I stayed at the Jockey Club, which is connected to the Cosmo, for significantly less. Neither one of us, we were in a hurry to book, and it was last minute getting it together and getting everybody, lined up with the film crew, the shirts, and getting the passes. I had bought my conference ticket to go out to Vegas right before getting the sealed deal on Dustin and I being able to do the documentary and getting the access. That was $347 for the early bird ticket that I got for the conference. And I can also say that my Vegas room came out to $617.93. The flight that I had round trip with bags was $323.01. And the conference ticket, as I said, was $347. I'm not going to list that in here because I think that information will be added with the CPA takes a look at it, and it'll be completely all out there. But you guys get it. Those are the numbers. That number is not going to change. What we ended up doing with food and the expenses, because we fed film crew while we were there too, is that we took that total amount and we ended up coming up with a total number, and we both are getting a check for that total number, which, by the way, was like $1,580 something, and we both took a check for that. However, here's the deal. The deal is is that Dustin actually stayed at the Cosmo. His room was over $2,000. It was like $2,200 for the 4 days. And he got the room at the Cosmo because we were going to be filming the majority of the conferences at the Cosmo. And it gave the camera crew a place to go so they could rest from time to time because we were nonstop. You can ask anybody there. We were nonstop from start to finish. So he actually took a loss on the actual room and took a hit through Life's Tough Media Corporation just to call it good, because we are trying, and I believe we are being very good fiduciaries of the money that was so graciously given and donated by this amazing community. So the Vegas numbers will be on there, but you're not seeing them currently, but the CPA will get those on there and sign off on those numbers too. So now let's talk about Liechtenstein. That's right. Dustin and film crew went to Liechtenstein. And you don't see that on here. And you know why you don't see that on here? Because that came out of Life's Tough Media Corporation. This is the kind of passion and drive that Dustin and I have to get this done. Dustin and I both understand that we are grateful for the time and the money that people have given and donated to this project. I'm grateful for the people that come on my channel. And I can tell you right now, Dustin also just got back from San Francisco. 2 days. Interviewed Jed McCaleb and Catherine Coley from Binance of America. A reminder here that no one who's donated money has been under any misconception. This documentary has been from the very beginning a documentary where we're telling the story about the entire crypto space growing up and being legitimized as a commodity in the traditional commodities markets. That's the story that's being told here, and there's many different narratives and storylines that will run together throughout that, from the highest level players in the scene, from Roger Ver, right, from Charles Hoskinson, Jed McCaleb, right, you know, all of those top players, Charlie Lee, all the top people in the space that have helped create this space are in this documentary, as well as everyday people that we've interviewed off the street, as well as YouTube influencers who have been key in helping build and maintain the energy in this community. And more importantly, all of you that have donated. This story doesn't happen without you. Dustin and I are absolutely grateful for it. So, when it comes to Liechtenstein, when it comes to the recent trip to San Francisco, 2 days, those funds came from Life's Tough Media Corporation. If this doesn't begin to show people how sincere we are in telling this story, I'm not really sure if there ever will be anything that could really solidify anybody after this. But I tell you what we will do. I do promise you this, and Dustin and I have spoke about this with our CPA and our legal team. We will be getting an official paper drawn up and released to verify everything that I've just made a permanent video of. I want to take a second and just say this. It really is, and I'm not, listen, I'm being completely sincere here. It is an amazing honor to have this bestowed upon Dustin and I. And we are going to be not only good fiduciaries of the money as you're seeing now, we're willing to go into our own pocket. We're not afraid to do those things, right? You can clearly see that. The truth is that as we move forward through all of this, And we will get you those documents that are absolutely verified. But as we go through all of this, you're going to see a documentary come out that is going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be amazing. And I'll tell you why. Because our other partner, Mike Jansen from Praxis Media Group, has done an amazing job so far editing the teasers that we've been putting together and the trailers that are about to come out, because we're getting ready to move into post-production, which we are currently not in yet. And you know what else? We have a website built, but it needs to be built out further to be able to handle where we're going with all of this once the documentary is finished. So currently sitting right now at a surplus of $4,094.76, I can guarantee you that the Vegas trip is going to wipe most of that out. And the remainder of what gets done will have to be done out of pocket by Dustin and myself. That's a fact. So this will get done. This is going to be amazing. I'm glad we've taken a moment to do not the first, not the second, but the third transparency report for Cryptonaires, the documentary, and the GoFundMe crowdfund raised money. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by. I encourage you to share this video and spread the word and let everybody know that everything is everything, and not too long from now, we will have an official CPA release a document for us, and we will share that with the entire community. I hope everybody has a great day. I got some killer videos coming out later today. Keep your ears and eyes and head on a swivel. I also saw a great article about Ripple's flywheel. Keep a lookout for the whiteboard that I'm about to put out on that. Very exciting stuff about Ripple and the flywheel. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe. Let's keep this thing going. I'll see you on the next one.